What is going on with Conor McGregor? Is the Notorious ever coming back to the UFC? Or is this the end of an era? After all the hype, all the buildup, and all the chaos, we're sitting here in 2025 still wondering, is Conor McGregor finished? Or is he just waiting to shock the world one last time? Today, we're breaking it all down. And trust me, you'll want to hear every second because the story behind McGregor's current situation is way deeper than what you're seeing on the surface. If you're part of the fight world and want the real, raw, unfiltered updates, hit that subscribe button and join the Cage Combat TV family, because we don't miss a single beat when it comes to the fight game. Alright, let's start with what's happening right now. Conor McGregor was recently spotted drinking pints with the Nelk Boys at his Black Forge pub in Dublin. And of course, the internet exploded. People saying, there's no way this guy is serious about fighting if he's out partying. Laughing it up with YouTubers instead of training. But here's what fans are missing. McGregor's public appearances are always calculated. You think a guy who built his career on showmanship and mystique doesn't know what he's doing? Whether he's drinking, joking, or hyping up a comeback, he knows people are watching. And that brings up the real question. Is Conor doing this because he knows his fighting days are over and he's pivoting to stay relevant? Or is this just part of the build-up to the biggest comeback we've ever seen? Let's get to the facts. Since snapping his leg against Dustin Poirier in July 2021, Conor hasn't stepped back inside that octagon. And yes, while he's posted training videos, the real issue isn't just about healing the bone. The injury he sustained was career-threatening, and any fighter will tell you, it's not about when you can walk again. It's about when you can take a full training camp, withstand brutal leg kicks, and move like a killer again. Now, here's something people don't realize. After a compound fracture like that, there's nerve damage, there's mental blocks, and there's fear that you just can't show the world. So when people say, why isn't he back yet? What's he waiting for? Man, the reality is this comeback might be the hardest thing he's ever faced in his life. And speaking of comeback, remember when UFC 303 was supposed to be the grand return? Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. A fight fans had been salivating over for more than a year. This was supposed to be the return that reminded everyone why McGregor is the face of MMA. But then, boom, a broken toe took him out. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. A toe injury? That's nothing. But let me tell you, when you're an elite striker like McGregor, your toes control your balance, your footwork, you're pivoting for power shots. A broken toe isn't just painful. It completely shuts down the game plan for a guy who relies on movement, angles, and precise timing. Still, for fans, this was the last straw for many. They were ready to see the king return, and now it's like the kingdom's empty. Since that Poirier fight, McGregor's been deep in business ventures. Proper 12 Whiskey is making millions, he opened multiple pubs, fitness brands, and don't forget, he's been starring in a Hollywood movie. So, yeah, it's fair to ask, is fighting still his #1 priority? Or is this a guy who cashed out, became a mogul, and is just teasing us to keep the hype going? Here's what I'll say. Conor always loved the fight game, but the hunger that took him from welfare to world champion, that's hard to hold on to when you're worth hundreds of millions. Now, let's talk about Dana White because this is crucial. Dana has been publicly unsure about when or even if McGregor will fight again. For a guy like Dana, who loves making fights that sell, to sound doubtful, that says something. Dana's words, "I don't know when he's coming back." That's the UFC president saying that. And if you know anything about Dana, he doesn't like uncertainty. If he's saying that, it's because behind closed doors, things are not where they should be. And now, McGregor's been hinting about fighting in bare-knuckle fighting championship. You've seen the video, right? He's out there, hyping up BKFC fighters, even saying he might jump in the ring himself. But let's be real for a second, bare-knuckle is no joke. You're talking about straight-up war, no gloves, no mercy. For a guy with leg issues and now a toe problem, is that even physically possible? Or is it just McGregor being McGregor, stirring the pot to keep his name alive? Because I'll tell you, if he actually steps in a bare-knuckle ring, man, that's a game changer. But if it's just talk, it's going to disappoint a lot of people. And on top of all this, the legal battles. The civil assault case from 2018, that's still hanging over his head. And whether you believe in his innocence or not, this stuff affects a fighter's mind. You can't be all in on a fight camp when you've got lawyers calling you every day. So now you've got a man who's trying to heal, trying to figure out his fight future, and still dealing with the ghosts of his past. So let's get real, is Conor McGregor done? Here's what I think. And hear me out. Physically, he might be able to come back. He's training, he looks in shape, but training and fighting are two different beasts. Mentally, that's the battle. The fire that made Conor what he was, that hunger to rise to the top. We haven't seen that same fire since 2016, since he won the second belt. Financially, he doesn't need to fight. So why risk it all unless he really has something to prove? But, and this is huge, McGregor loves proving people wrong. And right now, people are doubting him more than ever. So if I had to bet, if he comes back, it'll be for one massive, final fight. Maybe Chandler, maybe someone bigger. But if he doesn't show up in 2025, I think that's the sign that the McGregor era is over. So to everyone wondering, where is Conor McGregor? What's going on? Here's your answer. He's healing. He's managing businesses. He's dealing with legal drama. And he's figuring out if the King's still got one more war left in him. If you're a real fight fan and want to know the second this story evolves, make sure you hit subscribe, smash that like button, and join the Cage Combat TV family. Because whether Conor's coming back for war or riding off into the sunset, we'll be the first to break it down raw and unfiltered. Let me know in the comments, do you think Conor McGregor is done? Or is he coming back for one last ride? Stay tuned, Fight Fam, and I'll catch you on the next one. Now, before we close, let me ask you this. Why do we even care so much about Conor McGregor's return? Why is the whole fight world glued to every rumor, every Instagram post, every video of him sparring or having a pint? Because like it or not, Conor McGregor changed the fight game forever. Before Conor, MMA was a niche sport. After Conor, he turned it into a global spectacle. He made it mainstream. He brought in millions of new fans, sold out arenas, broke pay-per-view records, and whether you love him or hate him, you watched him. And that's why a comeback would be one of the biggest moments in UFC history, because it would either be the most legendary return we've seen, or it would show us that even kings fall. Either way, people will watch. But let's be real, if McGregor does come back and he loses, that could be it. End of the road. No more hype, no more champ talk. Because the new generation of killers isn't waiting around. Guys like Islam Makhachev, Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan, these are monsters in their prime, and the UFC is moving fast. So if McGregor steps back in that cage, he's not just fighting Chandler or whoever they give him, he's fighting for his entire legacy. If he wins, it's a movie moment, the comeback story of a lifetime. If he loses, it's the final chapter of one of the wildest stories in combat sports history. So to every single one of you who clicked this video because you care about what's next, I feel you. We all grew up watching Conor do the impossible. Knocking out Aldo in 13 seconds, going to war with Nate Diaz, becoming the double champ. And now we're watching, hoping for one more shot, one more glimpse of that magic. But whether he fights again or not, the fight game is changing. New blood is rising. But if there's one thing we know about McGregor, never count him out. Because when everyone doubted him, that's when he showed up. So if you're as invested in this story as I am, if you want to know exactly what's going down, subscribe right now to Cage Combat TV. This isn't just news. This is a community of people who live for this fight game. Drop a comment. What do you think? Does Conor McGregor still have it in him? Or is this the end? Let's talk about it. Alright, Fight Fam, that's it for today. Stay locked in, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.